Welcome back, Lincoln Currency, the channel. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting with a very specific and highly intriguing penny, the 1970 Lincoln cent. That's right, we're talking about a coin that, on the surface, seems like nothing special, yet holds within it a story full of history, minting anomalies, collector demand, internet myths, and some truly jaw-dropping price claims that have made the rounds on social media. In fact, there's a rumor that one particular 1970 penny is worth an astounding $776 million. And while that number raises eyebrows for many reasons, it opens the door to talk about why some of these coins really are valuable, what you need to look for, and how to determine if the penny in your pocket change could be worth more than just 1 cent. So let's take a journey back to 1970. The United States was going through a transitional time politically, culturally, and economically. In coinage, the Lincoln cent, which had already been in circulation for over 60 years since its debut in 1909, continued to be a common sight in the hands and pockets of millions of Americans. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, introduced in 1959 to replace the original wheat ears, was still relatively new and in full production. At the Denver Mint, which is what the D in 1970 stands for, over 2.8 billion pennies were struck that year. That's right, more than 2 billion coins were produced at just this one mint in that year alone. Now you might be thinking, how could a coin that had a mintage in the billions be rare or valuable? Well, that's where the story gets interesting. While the vast majority of those 1970 Lincoln cents are indeed worth only face value, a very small number of them are worth significantly more, and in some special cases, thousands of dollars. Some collectors and online sellers have even posted speculative values reaching into the millions, even as high as $776 million, which we'll talk about more in just a bit. First, let's look at what can make a common penny from 1970 worth a fortune. It often comes down to three key things: errors, condition, and rarity. When it comes to errors, the U.S. Mint is generally quite precise. But occasionally, something slips through the cracks. One of the most notable and valuable types of errors found in Lincoln cents from around this period are double die errors. These occur when the coin's design is imprinted more than once in slightly different positions, resulting in visible doubling in certain parts of the design, often the date, the lettering, or Lincoln's profile. While the 1970s Lincoln penny is well known for a double die obverse variety, specifically the small date double die, the 1970 coins haven't been widely reported to have the same dramatic double dies. That being said, minor errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other mint anomalies can still command a premium, especially if they're in high-grade uncirculated condition. Speaking of condition, that brings us to the second factor, the coin's grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with a coin graded MS-70 considered a perfect mint state coin. Most pennies that circulated back in 1970 would show signs of wear today: scratches, dull luster, nicks, or discoloration. But if you happen to have a 1970 penny that was never circulated and remains in pristine condition, with no signs of handling or deterioration, it can be worth far more than 1 cent. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins in the highest possible grades. In fact, an MS-67 red 1970 penny can sell for hundreds of dollars, and MS-68 examples, if they exist, could command 4 figures or more. The third factor is rarity, or perceived rarity. While the mintage figure of over 2.8 billion doesn't suggest rarity at first glance, there are subvariants and conditional rarities. For example, coins struck with exceptional sharpness or with a unique die variety can be classified as rare. One of the most famous rumors circulating online involves a 1970 penny that supposedly sold, or is being offered, for an astronomical price, upwards of $776 million. This is obviously an exaggeration, or perhaps a viral hoax intended to grab attention. There is no verified auction or numismatic authority confirming such a sale. However, such stories persist on the internet, fueled by a mix of misunderstanding, misinformation, and wishful thinking. What's likely happening in these cases is a photo or listing of a coin, possibly a proof coin or a common 1970 cent, being posted with an outrageous price tag on platforms like eBay or Etsy. Sellers may list coins for millions of dollars with the hope that someone believes it's that valuable, or as a tongue-in-cheek marketing tactic. Just because a coin is listed for $776 million doesn't mean it's sold for that amount, or even that it's worth that amount. Still, these stories get people looking through their spare change, which is not necessarily a bad thing. After all, real, legitimate Lincoln pennies have been known to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, the 1991 Lincoln cent, often referred to simply as the 1991 penny, may appear like just another common coin in your spare change jar. But there is much more to it than most people realize. While millions upon millions of these coins were struck and circulated throughout the United States, some very specific variations and rarities within the 1991 Lincoln penny family have captivated collectors and sparked headlines, myths, and even viral social media posts, claiming that some of these coins may be worth hundreds of thousands, or even, in some exaggerated tales, hundreds of millions of dollars. Today, we dive deep into the story, value, history, and mystery surrounding the 1991 1-cent Lincoln penny, including the truth about those supposedly ultra-rare and valuable mint mark varieties. First, a little history to understand where the 1991 Lincoln penny fits into the larger picture. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to bear the likeness of a real person, and Lincoln's profile has remained on the coin ever since. While the original 1909 version featured wheat ears on the reverse design was changed in 1959 to depict the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That reverse design was used until 2008, meaning the 1991 penny falls squarely into what is known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent era. In 1991, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones struck in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, the Denver ones are marked with a D, and the San Francisco pennies, largely produced as proof coins, bear an S mint mark. Now, if you were to look into mintage figures, you'd find that the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6.1 billion Lincoln cents in 1991, while the Denver Mint contributed over 4.2 billion coins. As for the San Francisco Mint, they struck over 2.8 million proof coins that year. So how can a coin minted in the billions be worth anything beyond its face value? That's where things get interesting. While most 1991 Lincoln pennies in circulated condition are only worth a cent or perhaps a couple of cents due to copper-plated zinc content and general wear, there are a few exceptional categories that can skyrocket their value. One of those categories involves mint errors. Mint error coins occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and collectors are often willing to pay big money for coins with dramatic or rare mistakes. Some of the most common and valuable errors on 1991 pennies include off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional errors. Let's take the double die error as an example. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a design that was improperly engraved twice, resulting in a coin with visibly doubled features, often in the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. While no extremely famous double die 1991 penny has yet been universally catalogued, rumors continue to circulate about possible examples. In fact, some collectors claim to have 1991 pennies with very strong doubling in the Liberty inscription or the date, and even minor doubling can add serious value. Now, let's talk about the 1991 D Lincoln penny. One of the most persistent rumors in numismatics is about the 1991 D penny that is supposedly struck in error using a proof die, which would normally be reserved for the San Francisco Mint. Such a coin, if it indeed exists, would be an anomaly and a massive error. However, despite widespread online claims, no verified examples of a 1991 D-proof Lincoln cent have ever been officially certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Still, that doesn't stop speculation, and when a mystery surrounds a coin, the myth grows bigger. Speaking of myths, we can't avoid the elephant in the room, the claim that a 1991 penny is worth $776 million. This number appears to have originated from viral social media posts or clickbait-style YouTube videos rather than from any recognized numismatic authority. As of today, there is no evidence that any 1991 Lincoln cent has sold for anywhere near this amount. In fact, the most expensive Lincoln cents ever sold at auction have been from early years like 1909 SVDB or 1955 double die coins, and even those fetch tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, not hundreds of millions. So why does the $776 million number persist? It's partly due to the allure of hidden treasure, and partly due to internet hype. The idea that a penny you've overlooked might suddenly change your life is compelling. Some videos and posts reference coins being one of a kind, or minted in error, or certified at the highest grade, to justify these astronomical numbers. But in reality, even the highest graded, most flawless 1991 penny might fetch a few $1,000s, not millions. Still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out for valuable versions of the 1991 penny. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sell for significant premiums. For example, a 1991 D penny graded MS-67 red sold for over $1,000 at auction. Similarly, proof coins from San Francisco in pristine PR-70 deep cameo condition can also bring in hundreds of dollars. These are coins that are virtually flawless under magnification and are extremely rare in such high grade. So, what should you look for in your pocket change or coin rolls? Start by checking the mint mark. Does the coin have a DS or no mint mark? Next, examine the coin for any unusual features, doubling, off-center strikes, or strange planchet defects. Also, consider the coin's color. Is it bright red, a dull brown, or something in between? The redder the coin, the more likely it is to be valuable in mint state. And of course, if you think you've found something unique or strange, take it to a certified numismatist or send it to a professional grading company for evaluation. Many coin collectors get their start simply by looking through their spare change. The 1991 penny is a great entry point because it's readily available and relatively young in the world of coin collecting, yet it offers enough mystery and intrigue to keep even seasoned collectors interested. Whether you find a perfect gem mint example, an error coin, or just become more aware of what coins you handle every day, the hunt is often just as rewarding as the prize. Now let's talk a little about the materials and design. The 1991 penny is composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, which is just a thin plating over the core. This composition began in 1982 due to rising copper prices. It's important to note that some 1982 and earlier pennies are made of solid copper, and those can be worth more for their metal content alone. The 1991 penny is also quite light, weighing about 2.5 grams. Occasionally, planchet errors occur when a copper blank is accidentally struck instead of a zinc one. If someone finds a 1991 penny that weighs closer to 3.1 grams, the weight of a pre-1982 copper cent, it might be worth testing further. Collectors sometimes hunt for transitional errors, such as coins minted using old dies, incorrect blanks, or other crossovers from different years. While no official 1991 transitional error has yet caused a stir in major auction houses, the possibility always exists. It's worth noting how coin values can be affected by the market and pop culture. In times of economic uncertainty, collectibles like coins often gain popularity as alternative investments. While it's rare that a common date penny sees dramatic market fluctuations, media attention, or viral interest in a specific year, like the 1991 Lincoln cent, can cause temporary surges in price and demand. And then there are slabbed coins. These are coins that have been professionally graded and encapsulated in tamper-proof holders by companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. Coins graded as MS-67 or MS-68 are at the top end of the scale, with perfect MS-70s being essentially unattainable for most business strike coins. Having a 1991 penny graded at MS67 red can boost its value from a few cents to several $100s or more depending on the mint mark and rarity. So, does a $776 million 1991 penny actually exist? No. But that doesn't mean the 1991 penny is worthless. On the contrary, in the right condition, with the right error, or in the right context, it can be a valuable piece of American numismatic history. The thrill of discovery, the potential for value, and the fascinating stories behind coins are what make coin collecting a deeply rewarding hobby. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, remember, every coin has a story, and some of those stories are worth far more than a single cent. Keep hunting, keep learning, and who knows? You might just be the next person to find a truly rare treasure hiding in plain sight. Have you ever wondered if there's a simple penny sitting in your pocket that could be worth a life-changing amount of money? What if I told you that one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world is not gold, not silver, but just 1 cent, a penny from the year 1992? That's right. Today we're diving deep into the 1992 Lincoln cent, a coin that has stirred up collectors and investors alike with stories of rare mint errors, high auction prices, and even myths of values soaring into the hundreds of millions. You may have heard of the 1992 close AM penny, a small variation that makes a huge difference. But what exactly makes this coin so valuable? Why are some of these pennies selling for tens of thousands? And what's this all about a $776 million valuation? Is it a rumor, a myth, or could there really be a penny worth nearly $1 billion? Let's start with the basics. In 1992, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents at multiple locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark, the Denver coins have a small D under the year, and San Francisco coins carry an S. Most 1992 pennies are very common, billions were minted, and they generally aren't worth more than face value. But there's a small subset of 1992 pennies that have a specific and extremely rare design detail: a close AM, reverse. Now, what does close AM mean? On the reverse of the Lincoln cent, the side with the Lincoln Memorial, you'll see the words United States of America, and just below that the word 1 cent. If you look closely between the letters A and M in America, you'll notice a gap, or maybe not. That's the key. Most 1992 cents have a wide AM, reverse, meaning there's a noticeable space between those two letters. But in a few incredibly rare cases, a 1992 penny was struck with what's called the close AM, reverse, a reverse design that was meant for coins starting in 1993. This mistake occurred when a reverse die meant for a future year was accidentally used in 1992, resulting in a transitional error. There are two main versions of the 1992 close AM, the 1992 Philadelphia close AM and the 1992 D Denver close AM. Both are rare, but the Denver version is significantly rarer, with only a few known examples confirmed. In fact, the 1992 D close AM is considered one of the holy grails of modern U.S. coin collecting. As of today, only about 15 to 20 examples of the 1992 close AM, Philadelphia, are known, and fewer than 10 examples of the 1992 D close AM have ever been verified. These coins don't just sell for hundreds, they can fetch tens of thousands at auction. In 2012, a 1992 D close AM penny in nearly perfect condition, graded MS64 red by PCGS, sold for over $20,000. Since then, market interest in these rare varieties has only grown, with collectors scouring rolls of pennies and bank bags in hopes of uncovering the next big find. The demand has led to an explosion of interest in error and variety coins from the 1990s and early 2000s, especially those involving reverse design changes like the 1992 close AM or the later 1998, 1999, and 2000 wide AM pennies, which are also collectible, though not nearly as rare. But here's where things start to get wild. On social media, in online forums, and even in some misinformed news articles, There have been viral claims that a 1992 penny sold, or is valued, at $776 million. That's right, $776 million. So let's pause right here and break this down. Is it true? Could a penny, even an extremely rare era coin, actually be worth more than $750 million? The short answer is no, not in any legitimate, verified numismatic auction or sale. There is absolutely no evidence that any 1992 penny, close AM or otherwise, has sold for that kind of astronomical figure. This number most likely originates from internet hoaxes or misinterpreted online posts where someone mistakenly typed an extra few zeros or added up incorrect data. Some clickbait websites use exaggerated values to draw attention, and the $776 million claim is likely an example of that. Still, the myth has persisted, with many people searching their coin jars and hoping they've just stumbled upon the world's most valuable penny. That said, just because a 1992 penny isn't worth hundreds of millions doesn't mean it can't be extremely valuable. For collectors who specialize in modern U.S. coinage, finding a 1992 D close AM is like winning the lottery. Even a 1992 Philadelphia close AM in circulated condition, if verified and graded, can bring in thousands of dollars. The true value of these coins depends on condition, rarity, certification, and collector demand. Coins that are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC and given high grades, especially those with the designation red for their original color, will always command the highest prices. So how do you know if you have a rare 1992 close AM penny? First, you'll need a 1992 penny, either with no mint mark, Philadelphia, or a D mint mark, Denver. Flip the coin over and look at the word America. If the A and M are nearly touching, very close together with almost no space between, you may have found a close AM. But here's the catch. Many people confuse worn coins or slight design inconsistencies with true close AM varieties. To be absolutely certain, your coin should be examined under magnification and ideally authenticated by a professional grading service. You can send your coin to PCGS or NGC for grading and verification. If you have what you believe is a 1992 close AM, especially a 1992 D, it's worth getting it checked out professionally. It could be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, depending on the coin's grade. Now let's talk about market trends. In recent years, the market for rare pennies has been heating up. With the rise of coin hunting YouTube channels, TikTok videos, and social media posts, more people are aware of modern rarities than ever before. This surge in awareness has led to a spike in demand and a higher premium placed on verified rare coins. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen growing interest in high-grade modern coins, and prices for top-quality 1992 close AM pennies reflect that demand. Coins that once sold for a few thousand are now climbing steadily higher, especially as fewer fresh examples appear in the market. Meanwhile, rumors continue to swirl about unbelievable values. The idea that a 1992 penny is worth $776 million makes for a great headline, but in reality, the value of the most expensive coin ever sold, the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, was around $18.9 million. That's the top verified public sale for a US coin. So while it's fun to dream, the numbers just don't add up. However, a 1992 D close AM penny fetching $25,000, $30,000, or even more in the right circumstances. That's absolutely possible and well-documented. So what's the takeaway? If you have a 1992 penny, check it. Look at the spacing between the A and M in America. If they're close together, you might have something special. If you have a 1992 D with a close AM, congratulations, you're holding a true modern treasure. Even without a mythical $776 million valuation, it's still an incredible discovery. And if you're into coin collecting, it's a powerful reminder that even everyday pocket change can hold incredible secrets and unexpected value. Keep hunting, keep learning, and maybe one day, you'll find your own numismatic gem, And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1992 Lincoln penny. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just found a curious coin in your change, the world of coins is full of history, mystery, and potential value. So next time you're sorting your change, remember, 1 cent might just be your ticket to a small fortune, or at least an exciting journey into America's rich numismatic past. Back, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in recent years, the 2011 D Lincoln cent. You might have heard wild rumors floating around online, maybe even seen headlines claiming a 2011 D penny is worth $776 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, let's sort the facts from fiction and uncover the true story behind this small coin that's causing such a big stir. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's get into the fascinating world of modern pennies, mint marks, and coin values. Let's start with the basics. The 2011 D Lincoln cent is a 1 cent coin minted by the United States Mint in Denver, Colorado. That's what the D stands for. The obverse, or front, features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been in use since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin portraits in American history. Now, if you flip the coin over, the reverse design you'll find is the Union Shield. This reverse started appearing in 2010, replacing the 4 different designs used in 2009 to commemorate Lincoln's bicentennial. The shield design represents Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified nation during the Civil War. The 13 vertical stripes represent the original states joined in one shield, symbolizing unity. Above the shield is the inscription, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. It's a strong visual representation of the strength and resilience of the United States, and it's been used on every Lincoln penny from 2010 onward. The 2011 D penny is composed mostly of zinc, 97.5%, with only 2.5% copper plating. This composition has been in place since 1982, when the mint shifted from solid copper to copper-plated zinc as a cost-saving measure. In terms of mintage, the 2011 D penny isn't rare by any traditional numismatic standard. The Denver Mint produced over 2.5 billion of these coins. Yes, billion with a B. That means, statistically speaking, there are enough 2011 D pennies for nearly every person on the planet to have one or two. So, with that in mind, the average 2011 D penny found in your pocket is going to be worth, you guessed it, 1 cent. So why the buzz? Why do people think it could be worth $776 million? Well, there are a few reasons why this coin may have been blown out of proportion online. First, there's the power of internet rumors. Clickbait titles and viral social media posts sometimes claim outrageous values for ordinary coins. Someone posts a listing from an online marketplace, like eBay or Etsy, showing a coin priced at hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. But here's the thing, anyone can list anything at any price. Just because it's listed at $776 million doesn't mean it's sold for that. It doesn't even mean it's worth more than a cent. It just means someone is hoping to get lucky or make a viral post. Second, there are rare varieties and mint errors that can increase the value of a coin, but that's the exception, not the rule. Some pennies with double dies, off-center strikes, or improper planchets can fetch significantly higher prices among collectors. And some rare cents, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die, are legitimately worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the 2011 D? For the vast majority, they are not error coins. They are normal, mass-produced cents. That said, let's talk about the legitimate ways a 2011 D penny could be worth more than face value. For starters, a 2011 D penny in uncirculated condition, that means it's never been used, with no scratches, no wear, perfect luster, might fetch 10 to 50 cents from collectors. In higher grades, like MS66 or MS67, the value could go up to a few dollars. According to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, A 2011 D penny in mint state 67 red might be worth around $20 to $50. Very few examples exist in even higher condition, like MS68, and these could go for $200 or more if the right buyer comes along. But again, that's the extreme upper end of the market. These values are driven by condition, scarcity in that condition, and collector demand. So if you have a 2011 D penny that looks perfect, it might be worth setting aside, especially if you're building a high-grade collection or considering grading it. But if it's just a circulated coin from your pocket change, it's not going to pay off your mortgage, or buy you a yacht, or a Ferrari, or an island. Now, let's consider mint errors. There are some documented mint errors on 2011 D pennies, things like die cracks, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws. A dramatic off-center strike, for example, where only part of the coin is struck, might be worth $20 to $50. A broad strike or a clipped planchet might go for a similar amount. But again, these are relatively rare, and each coin would need to be examined carefully. Some collectors specialize in errors, and prices can vary based on how dramatic or unusual the error is. So where does the $776 million number come from? Most likely it's a joke, a hoax, or an internet myth that got way out of hand. There's no documented case of a 2011 D penny, or any penny, selling for anything remotely close to that. In fact, the most expensive penny ever sold is the 1943 D copper Lincoln penny, which fetched around $1.7 million at auction. And even that is an extreme rarity. Only one example is known to exist. So the idea of a modern coin with billions in mintage being worth nearly $1 billion just doesn't hold up to any real numismatic standard. But let's think about what would make a modern coin worth that much. It would have to be unique. Not just rare, but truly one of a kind. It would need a compelling historical backstory, like being a minting error that should never have existed, or perhaps a coin made from the wrong metal at a time when no other examples were produced. It would have to be verified by multiple grading companies, authenticated, and ideally sold at a major auction house. Without that, it's just a fantasy. Of course, some people might argue, hey, it's art, it's history, it's subjective. And sure, the coin collecting world is full of surprises. But the key is evidence. Provenance. Documentation. Not clickbait or rumors. So if you see a coin listed online for $776 million, take it with a massive grain of salt. Better yet, get it appraised by a trusted professional or graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. Now, despite all this, coin collecting is a fun and rewarding hobby. It teaches history, art, economics, metallurgy, and patience. And every once in a while, someone does strike it rich. Maybe not $776 million rich, but they find a valuable coin in change or at a garage sale. It happens. But it's important to go into it with realistic expectations. So what should you do if you have a 2011 D penny? First, take a close look at its condition. Is it pristine? Does it look uncirculated? If so, it might be worth setting aside or even getting graded, especially if you have a whole roll of uncirculated coins. Second, check for errors. Are the letters misshaped? Is there doubling? Is the design off-center? Is the coin thicker or thinner than normal? These could all be signs of mint errors that increase value. Third, if you're still unsure, take it to a local coin dealer or a coin show, or join an online community like a coin collecting forum. You'll find knowledgeable folks willing to help. And finally, remember, coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about curiosity, the thrill of discovery, and the stories behind these little metal discs we take for granted every day. That penny in your hand has a legacy. It's connected to Abraham Lincoln, to the Civil War, to the decisions of the U.S. Mint, to the changes in American currency policy over centuries. It's a piece of living history. So treat it with respect, whether it's worth 1 cent or $1,000. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the 2011 D Lincoln penny. If you found this video helpful, interesting, or just a little bit nerdy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've ever come across a coin you thought might be rare, or got excited about a penny you found in change, share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep hunting, and remember, the treasure is often in the details.